So today on Project Shop, we're gonna have another massive weekend scrap out. Now, it's already late in the day, Saturday, so we're kind of late to the game. But I had to go pick up this whole trailer of scrap here. Now we have a bunch of scrap over there. We have this huge panel I'd like to get to. Tons of transformers. Some aluminum wire. Bunch of copper up on the table. We got the engine whisperer over here taking shit apart. So we're back to some micro scrapping. Tons of nuggets of copper in here. All these little bits. Looks like most of this is coming right apart with the gun. Taking apart the socket there, but there is a flat head. And then looks like we're gonna need another socket there. So we have a ton of scrap and a ton of transformers to get through. Not too much wire. There's some on the trailer. But I think there's a couple nuggets in some of these bins. I'm thinking we can probably pull about $3,000 out of all this scrap. Maybe, hopefully. So I'm gonna get the time lapse up and we're just gonna start recovering copper off this table. We're probably gonna get a good, maybe like 400 bucks off of what's on this table. So that'll be a good start. Okay, I'm not sure when we started, but we got 62 pounds. So basically 60 pounds of copper worth at least 180 bucks, I guess. So that was some super tedious stuff. There was like 3 steps. You had to use a socket, then a flathead, and then a socket again. And then these little tabs were like spacers and they were causing all kinds of issues. But we stayed on it and got it done. Okay, now we're moving on to these junctions or connections or whatever these are. That one's smoking because we just cut it with the grinder. There's no real easy way to get this off. This is really tedious. So maybe I'll cut that first one off with the razor blade. That seemed to work. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. But there's some pretty nice, I took one apart. There's some pretty nice chunks of copper. Got the impact set up. These are coming right out. So after we do a couple, we'll kind of get a little rhythm going and it'll go pretty quick. We already got 60 pounds of copper. So what'd I say, 300 bucks we can pull off this table? We're already more than halfway there. Okay, so we got a pretty decent process going down the best we can. And one thing I've been noticing about these things, some of these, when they installed it, they cut some of the wire to get it to fit in these. And they're really snug. I can kind of knock them on the table and loosen some of them up, most of them at least. But some of them having to put in the vise, I clamp to the table and use the big old pair of channel locks. But we got a whole big old nugget right here of copper. That's probably already more than what's in that bucket. Maybe close. At least when we're done, it definitely will be. So Steve's just cutting into this rubber thing. Or some of them just coming right off on the short ones. Yeah, there's nothing easy about it. Now, I don't know if these screws, I've been throwing them in this bucket, are extruded. I don't even know if this is extruded. It looks like it might be. Looks like it's pressed in there or something. I wonder if they're screwed on. That's a weld?
Yeah.
Like a friction weld? I want to see if I can't beat one of those off. Let's try it. Well, however they attached it, it ain't coming off that easy. I'm gonna at least try to get extruded for that. All the work we're putting into cleaning these things up. Might as well get top dollar for it. Okay, so this is somewhat coming along okay. The ones, there's two different kinds here actually. These ones are like extruded looking. These are actually cast one piece. These cast ones are super tough to get off. So we're not even gonna mess with the cast ones anymore. I am gonna clean the extruded ones, but I'm done for the day. It's 11:30. I started my day at 8 o'clock, put in a whole 8 or 9 hours, went to the west coast of Florida, picked up a whole trailer load, came back, and then started all this. So I'm pretty much done. I'm about 16 hours into it, and I'm gonna call it for today. Not sure how much we got up on the tally here, other than the number 2 copper that's ready to go. But we did get 2 pretty much full buckets of number 1 insulated, some big stuff, gonna be easy to strip. So we might have reached our $300 goal, but we're gonna wrap it up and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so I'm back on this tedious micro scrapping. It is like 740 on Sunday. So the weekend scrap marathon and my $3,000 goal is not looking so good right now, because we had a couple tornadoes down here in South Florida and some really crazy thunderstorms and wind for the better part of the day. So I was occupied with, you know, South Florida storm stuff. But we're gonna get right back on this and then move right on to getting that trailer emptied so that we can actually load some stuff back on it. Okay, I'm gonna show you how I've been doing these. Basically, I've been using the fillet knife and cutting down one side. Now this stuff, once you have it like freed, it comes right off. Or at least the ones I was doing. For whatever reason, Steve kept grabbing these cast aluminum ones, and we're just gonna send these as cast aluminum because they're like impossible. So basically, once I get it to this part, I cut one of these up the side and like free the corner here, and then you can reclamp it. I mean, this is tedious stuff here. Reclamp it like this, right? And then on my other vise it was easier. Let me turn this. So basically what I was doing is coming in here and just making a cut like that, right? And then once it gets loose, it'll really just kind of come right out of there. It is tedious, but if you make the cuts in the right spot, it actually comes off pretty easy. See. This fillet knife is super dull. But as you can see, once you get up under it, the stuff really wants to come right off, or at least on these extruded ones. Sometimes when you come across certain things, there's no real easy way. But if you do enough of them, you kind of work out a process. There you have it.
light in each end?
I guess so. So this is some really tedious stuff. Was that sealed?
Yeah, from there. I don't know.
Oh, maybe they painted it over it.
Yeah, they did. Weird.
Is that thick glass like this one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So this light had a light protruding from both ways.
Yeah, it did. Potentially. What do you want me to do with it? It's done, right?
Well, we need to get the glass out of it. Either just break it with the hammer or unscrew it. So all this stuff is really tedious because it's all different. It's in different states of being taken apart. So you're going from like Allen keys to Phillips to nut drivers. But some of this stuff is worth pretty good money. Like, I thought this was sheet metal until he opened it up and it turns out that's extruded. So some of this stuff is worth taking apart, and sometimes these light, I don't know if this is a water light.
It looks like it's an underwater light.
But there's no seal. Yeah. So this is taking a lot of time, but we're getting somewhere. We do got a little stack of transformers on the table here. And that's all the copper nuggets. That's heavy. I'll probably weigh that, see how much number one insulated we got out of that. Just cleaning those pieces. I'm pretty sure it's gonna cover, what I say, 300 bucks. Did they really paint that piece of glass?
They ground
wow,
it.
look at that, dude. That's,
they ground it.
They ground the glass.
To fit that thing.
And look, man, that's painted on the inside.
Yeah. What are those? Is that cast?
That's cast aluminum. So I don't know if you can see, but we're getting down to it. There's a little pile of wire, mostly spaghetti wire. Probably too dark to see. Bunch of transformers there. Got this whole barrel of transformers. And I'm pretty sure over there somewhere I got some more transformers. And some more in there. And some probably more in there. That's wire. Okay, we got all these transformers up here by the table. This bin here is actually ballast that we're gonna break open. So as we go through these barrels here, when we find any that seem like they're, one, don't say electronic ballast, two, are really heavy, we're gonna put there and break down. I'm gonna start cracking these transformers, and then Steve's gonna finish these couple little lights, and he's gonna come over here and we're just gonna blow through this real quick and hopefully get a couple pounds of copper out of it. Okay, we're all set up. I got this drum ready for some number 2 copper. Now, a lot of people were saying something about I need a respirator. When I'm working in here, I always have a fan blowing across my work area. So if I'm making dust in front of me, it's blowing it right away from me. And I always have a vacuum fan at the door. So it keeps this place pretty much dust free. But when I'm doing certain things, I do wear a respirator. I'm about to wear gloves, and when I'm cracking transformers, I prefer these over the little earplugs you stick in your ear. But before we get into that, I wanted to see how good we actually did if we did meet our $300 goal, and how much of that copper nuggets. You'd be surprised. 78 pounds of copper nuggets we pulled out of there. And I think I get like $2.40 a pound for this. So that'll pretty much almost make it. I forgot what that was. So we're gonna weigh that real quick and actually get some numbers on the board, because we got nothing. And it's like 11 o'clock at night. So let's see how fast we can get some copper in that bucket. 81 pounds there. So we'll just call it 75 and 75. And we're about 60 pounds of number 2 copper. Okay, so rough estimate, $360. And number 1 insulated, $186. And number 2 copper. So just cleaning off the table yesterday, we made $546. That's not bad, and that's not even including all the aluminum that we pulled out of there. Okay, now we're going to start off with these big transformers. Now when I'm cracking transformers, normally I like to start with the biggest ones first, get them out of the way, because you're going to get the most copper recovery out of the large ones. The machine's only going to run so many transformers a minute. Usually 3 a minute on average, up to 5 if nothing goes wrong. This thing really cranks them out. The reason I like to go through the big ones first, if something happens, if the machine breaks halfway through the run, at least I've created a big pile of heavy copper that I can go sell and you know, do what I need to do or whatever. So before we get on to that, I'm just going to go over the machine real quick. I know there's a lot of new subscribers, so this thing's pretty much custom built. The whole table I've built out of 2 pieces of I-beam it started with, and then it just kind of evolved into what it is now. I actually have a playlist called Building the Ultimate Copper Recovery System, or Building the Copper King, and it'll show this from the beginning to where it is now if you want to see how I got to this stage. But what we have here is originally a 20-ton Harbor Freight press with the legs cut off of it, and it's welded in place with reinforcements. I'm running a 25-ton Enerpack cylinder with a 2-speed 10,000 psi hydraulic pump, double acting. It'll power, this one pump actually powers both presses here, but at the moment I have this hooked up to its own machine. So now each one of these is independent, both running off of foot pedals. And then this jig is just something I built out of angle iron, and basically it's real simple. It's just holding the transformer up off of here. There's 2 welds here, and we're just cracking welds. Okay, it's very simple and effective. No grinding involved. It's just a lot of force, and we're breaking these welds here, and we're breaking the welds on the bottom. And these things here are just holding this up and giving this inner core somewhere to go and drop down. And it doesn't even have to drop down. That's like a 1/4 inch or whatever. Now this setup here has definitely been ridden hard and put up wet. It's been broken many a times. Right now I'm running vice grips as handles. I used to have big wheels out here, but they broke off and the thread got all messed up. This is actually 2-inch core drill, but I cut the core drill off and just used the thread that used to thread onto the machine. And just random bits of metal. And when I built it, that's all I had. Obviously, if I had to do this again, I would build this with all 1/2-inch plate or bigger. The bottom base plate, maybe even 1-inch plate. And this should be like a 50-ton press. I had to put 1/2-inch plates up here. This has all been reinforced. As you see, I bent it. I had to put gussets here, and I put that beam up there on top. Now this one over here is 100% custom built. This is a 2,000 or 2-ton, 10,000 psi cylinder. This is a 1-ton. Depending on what you're running here, this one's really fast. This one pretty much gets the job done. That one's kind of dangerous. Eventually, I'd like to have a valve to go back and forth between the two. And this is just more angle iron. This whole thing is angle iron. I just made a rectangle, welded together, and then built this crazy piece back here. It just kind of hovers. It's just floating right there. And it's self-contained. So when this is pushing up, it pushes back, pretty much back to itself. It's worked out great. I built this like 10 or 11 years ago, and it's just been cranking through transformers, no problem. The only issues I've had with these machines is the welds breaking here. Every once in a while, a hose leak or a seal will blow. I've had one of these blow before. I did buy covers for these, but I bought the wrong size, so I have to order thicker covers. I actually have it on video. Guatemalan kid that helps me sometimes, first time he ever ran one of these, I think he was running this press. He blew the hose, thought he messed it up. It wasn't his fault. The hose just on its way out. Anyway, I'm gonna start cracking transformers. Oh, and if you ever notice my videos, the camera's bouncing, that's because it's on this arm, and it's on that and kind of rocking. And even the one over there, that thing bounces because it's long. I actually have an idea to fix all of that, which will be coming up here soon. So just bear with me on the bouncing video. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. Oh, you definitely want to be wearing gloves messing with these transformers. for years I ran this thing with a button, which I still have. It's right here. Right? So I'm still getting used to using the foot pedal down there. So if at first I'm a little clumsy, it's because it's still like a new process for me.
Oh! I thought you said.
Tough one. Now for the most part, size on these don't matter up and down or width, depth wise. The width is what matters. It always breaks one side first. This rig just isn't big enough for what I'm doing. Okay, so things are moving right along and we're getting a nice little chunk. Got about a third of a barrel so far. Fortunately, we got all that aluminum. So far, these are the transformers we're keeping. I still need to go through these. This drum here is going to be for all the ballasts that are going to go. We still have this bin, and what's on the table here. And then I've been pulling out all the double aluminums. Got like 2 or 3 over there. We're gonna send them with the irony aluminum, not even mess with it. It's getting late. We got a late start, but I do want to finish these transformers. So I got some tacos heating up in the oven over there. We're gonna take like a 10-15 minute break and we're gonna get right back on it. Okay, I've gone as far as I can go with this machine. The rest of this stuff needs to be cleaned up with the grinder a little bit. This is all stuff that's been like delaminated. Still a lot of copper sitting here. We got overflowing barrels of steel. Steve's barrel's almost full. We got almost 2/3 of a bucket of copper. We got a bunch of aluminum, and we're debating on whether we want to knock these out and remove the copper from that. I have these pieces here we can strip and add to it with those pieces of number 2. So that'll bring it up a little bit. And then I have this bucket down here of more cutters. I'm gonna take a break real quick, kind of hydrate, and we're gonna get back out here and liberate some more copper. Okay, I finally got the trailer completely empty. Now, I separated the wire. We're gonna try to strip this. We're just gonna sell that off as is. All this aluminum can get loaded. That pile number 2, I got some more number 2 back there. I'm just gonna load everything on the trailer right now that's ready to go. Steve's cracking some ballast open so we can recover some more number 2 copper. And I think we're gonna be pretty close to our $3,000 goal, if not more. Now, if we start stripping wire, I know we're gonna get there. And I think we are gonna strip some wire. We might just pull an all-nighter. It's already in the middle of the night sometime. I don't know. We just got the stereo blasting and we're just slinging scrap. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before? Look at all this scrap. I wonder what they're doing with this. Oh, here we go. Oh, these are different lights. What the hell is this? These lights look like they're from a different job. He did say they have 2 jobs going on right now. So, I don't know, but there's a ton of lights at this place. Oh, we got plenty of room on this trailer. We can stack some more lights. He did say he needed his straps. I guess they don't have many straps. So these are a different style light. These are like sheet metal. These ain't gonna be worth as much as those ones up there. Those ones up there, I can tell just from down here, they're heavy cast. I got it out here baking in the sun. It looks awesome. I can see a little overspray on the deck, but the deck's gonna get tore up anyway. And a few little light spots on the paint, but overall for what it's gonna do and what I used to make it, I think it came out absolutely great, and I think it's gonna do an awesome job. So we're gonna fill this up today. All my plexiglass. Now this one's sticking out because this is a 5x8 sheet of 1/2 inch plexiglass, and then I have two 4x8 sheets, and then a 4x what looks to be like 5 sheet, 4x6 maybe, 4x8 sheet of insulation. You can see how the 4x8 sheets fit perfectly in there. I mean, they're right there, and then you can just kind of fan through. I got some perforated stainless back here. Wait till you see what I'm going to use that for. It's like the stuff that you can see through right here. It's really tiny holes. Now I don't have much stock, but we got a little bit of aluminum expanded metal, a little bit of aluminum diamond plate, a big chunk of 1/2 inch aluminum plate here, and then we have a little bit of aluminum, and then we got our sheet steel into sheet diamond plate. Got a nice couple chunks in there, and then we got plywood